Today's session. My name is Prescott Wright. I'm a product manager here at AWS. I'm very excited to talk with you today about how you can leverage generative AI for agent assistance within Amazon Connect. I'm going to talk about some of the common challenges we see in contact centers and how Gen AI can help make your agents more efficient, more accurate, and improve customer satisfaction. I'll talk about our new agent assistance product, Amazon Q and Connect, and do a live demo. We'll have plenty of time for questions at the end, so please use the WebEx chat feature throughout the presentation, and we'll go ahead and address those questions at the end. So customer expectations are getting higher and higher every year. As customer expectations grow, this is putting a lot of pressure on your agents. As you look at these stats, what is it that you want your agents to be remembered for when interacting with customers? And what do you want your agents to do and to learn differently in order to scale to support customer needs? When developing Amazon Q and Connect, we focus on the key operational challenges faced by most contact centers, including the amount of time it takes new agents to be effective. In some industries, that's over 90 days. The average handle time from 10 to 25 minutes on average for a typical contact. The challenge is successfully resolving the customer's issue on the first contact, and the low customer satisfaction scores, often because of long wait times and incorrect answers. Amazon Q and Connect is helping to address these issues by reducing training time, improving agent efficiency and accuracy, and creating an overall better customer experience. But we know these operational challenges exist today because agents have a really difficult job to quickly and accurately resolve the issues. First, they must ask questions to help narrow down the problem, understand what the issue is with the customer. Then they must search for a potential solution. Oftentimes they're using multiple different systems, such as a knowledge base, where they might need to search for articles. They might have to go out to a public site to look at FAQs, an internal file share to look up policies and procedures and manuals, maybe even chat with internal colleagues. All this while the customer is sitting on hold, waiting for an answer. And sometimes they can't resolve it without escalating it to a supervisor or transferring it to another agent. These challenges all contribute to those high handle times, the low first contact resolution rates, and low customer satisfaction. You may have heard about Amazon Q during reInvent. Amazon Q is a new generative AI-powered assistant that's specifically for work and can be tailored to your business to have conversations, solve problems, generate code, and take actions using the data and the expertise that's found in your company's information repositories, your code bases, and your enterprise systems. We're excited to announce Amazon Q is available directly within Amazon Connect to help your contact center agents. Amazon Q and Connect includes real-time agent assistant functionality, formerly known as Amazon Connect Wisdom, along with new generative AI-powered capabilities to provide recommended responses, actions, and links to more information. With generative AI, your content can be synthesized to generate real-time responses that agents can deliver via voice or text to customers. It can also provide agents guidance on the next steps to take to resolve that customer inquiry. Similarly, agents can search your content using natural language and receive specific responses or guidance. And agents can always quickly reference the source documents if they need to find out more detail. Here's a screenshot of the Connect agent workspace with Amazon Q and Connect. In the right-hand panel, Amazon Q and Connect is showing a few things. The first thing, if you look at the top, is the issue that's detected during the conversation. Next, you'll see a response that's been generated from your knowledge articles and your documents and your sources of truth. This response that addresses the issue can be provided directly to the customer by putting that in a chat session or reading it to the customer. There's also a solution that's provided. In this case, it's a series of steps that the agent can follow to understand how to best address that issue. Finally, you'll see at the bottom, there's links to articles and documents that were used to generate the response in the solution. This is so the agent can get more information and context when needed about the generated response or solution. Finally, at the very top, you'll see a search bar. Agents can always perform a natural language search and get a list of relevant articles as well as a generated response to advise them on the next best steps or answer to their question. Let's go ahead and jump out of PowerPoint, and I want to show you a demo of this working in action. So let me shift my screen here, 1 second. And I'm going to go ahead and share. And I think you should be seeing, yes, you should be seeing the Connect agent workspace. So in this case, in this demo, I'm going to be an agent in a contact center that deals with rental cars. I'm going to go ahead and initiate a chat. But I want to mention that Amazon Q and Connect is available for both voice and chat calls, just a little bit easier to demo via chat here. So I'm going to go ahead and accept that chat as an agent. Bear with me as I type. And then the customer is going to ask a question about their rental car. I apologize if WebEx keeps shifting back and forth between these windows. So you can see that Amazon Q is listening into this conversation and it's detecting a question from the customer. In this case, it detected the customer had a question about the cancellation fee. You'll see in the right-hand side, the queue has generated a response. If you cancel your rental prior to scheduled pickup time, you'll be refunded the prepaid amount minus the $150 cancellation fee that the agent can simply copy and paste into the chat message. There's also a solution to help advise the agent on the next best step. What's really important to understand here is that this response and the solution is not generated from the general internet or from the underlying foundational model. This is all grounded in the source of truth, the information that you provide to Amazon Q, in this case, your knowledge articles and your documents. I'll open up an example here. These references are actually documents that have been used to generate the response and solution. An agent can open up one of these very easily in their workspace and get more information and context. In this case, I'll open it up to show you an example of how this response was generated. You'll notice that the customer said they were going to pick up their rental car in 2 hours. Well, you'll see the cancellation fee within a 24-hour period is $150, so that's a correct answer. But if the customer said they were picking up their reservation next week, you would have seen there's a different answer that would have been generated because of 48 hours before the pickup time, the cancellation fee is $75. So this is a good example of how Q works to understand both what the customer is asking, as well as what the customer is asking and what information you have in your knowledge articles and documents to provide the agent with the right guidance. Now, there might be cases where an agent might need additional information. They might want to ask a question. They can do that through Q's natural language interface. I'm going to excuse this shifting back and forth here. You can see at the top of the window here, there's an interface where an agent can ask a question such as, what's the fee for returning the rental more than 24 hours late? Q will bring back a list of knowledge articles as well as a solution. In this case, it's $25 plus 3/4 of the daily fee. So in this way, agents can have access not only to information during the course of the conversation in real time, these proactive suggestions that are pushed out to the agent to help them address these questions and understand the solution to the customer's issue. But also, Q is always available to answer questions that the agent might have throughout the course of that conversation, both proactively and on demand. So let me stop sharing and go back to the presentation here. And we're going to dig a little bit more into what's actually happening behind the scenes here. So when we peel back the covers here, there's actually a number of machine learning models and artificial intelligence that deliver that experience that we just saw. The first thing is that Q has intent detection machine learning models that have been trained for thousands of hours of contact transcripts to be really good at detecting when there's an issue that occurs in that conversation. It simply wouldn't work to send everything a customer and agent says into a large language model. Not only would the agent just have a spam of information coming towards them, but it wouldn't be very helpful for anyone. So what Q does is it actually pulls out those unique topics, those unique questions that occur in the conversation, and use that as a signal to prompt the agent with a suggested response. When it detects an intent, the next step is to use our semantic matching machine learning model. This machine learning model goes through the content that you've made available to Amazon Q, and it not only identifies what are the right documents, what are the relevant documents for that particular question, but within those documents, what's the right sentence or the right paragraph to help answer that question. From there, we send this information into Amazon Bedrock to use the generative response and get back a generative solution. The important point here is we're pulling in the intent, we're pulling in context from the conversation, we're pulling in information from your knowledge articles, and then we're providing this to Amazon Bedrock in a very specific manner with very specific instructions to get a response that's useful for your agent, as well as a solution to advise them on the next steps to address that issue. This prompt engineering or instructions is part of the heart of the product to do this in a way that works to provide that very specific response and solution from the large language model. And it's really all these pieces working together in near real time to guide and advise your agents throughout the course of the conversation, whether voice or chat, that delivers the experience we just saw. So Amazon Q and Connect, as you just saw, is providing value to your company in a number of different ways. The first is it has a dramatic reduction in onboarding time for new agents. It makes it faster for your new agents to get to proficiency and take contacts on their own. Companies benefit from reduced training time, reduced effort to coach and supervise those new agents. Q also makes it faster for your agents to respond to customers. It reduces the amount of time that they spend searching, reading through documents, understanding that information, synthesizing it into a response, or determining what the next steps are to address that customer's issue. It provides this information to them proactively, dramatically reducing that handle time. It also gives you flexibility in your contact center. It makes it easier for agents to handle contacts outside of their core subject expertise, as Q can provide them assistance along the way. This can be especially helpful to load balance agents amongst queues that might have long wait times, where previously you had rigid staffing. This can make it possible to cross-train and have agents be more flexible in terms of the types of calls they take. We also are able to increase first contact resolution rates. As Amazon Q is guiding that agent to the right answer the first time, customers are more likely to get that question resolved. And finally, Q can increase the customer satisfaction of your customers as they receive more accurate answers faster on their first contact. Companies have told us that when their agents use Amazon Q, their agents are more focused on the customer. They show more empathy, they're more present, as Amazon Q is removing a lot of that busy work that otherwise they would have had to do to search through those knowledge repositories, to try to carry on that conversation and read the document and understand it at the same time they're listening to the customer. It really frees that agent up to focus solely on the customer and their issue because they don't have to do that busy work anymore. We've had a number of customers using Amazon Q and Connect in the beta prior to the GA release at reInvent. And we're really excited about the results that they've experienced and that they've shared with us. One of them, Orbit, manufacturer and supplier of home and commercial irrigation systems, they expect to save 10 to 15% on every single contact and handle more calls every hour. That's going to translate into real cost savings for them. Traeger, their leading provider of smokers, grills, and barbecue products, they anticipate that Amazon Q and Connect will improve their agent efficiency by 20% and allow their agents to deliver a much better customer experience. NatWest, they provide financial services to over 19 million people, families and businesses and communities throughout the UK and Ireland. They've told us that Amazon Q and Connect is going to ensure not only their new agents, but also their experienced agents will have the right information, accurate information in real time, so they can focus on that customer experience. So Amazon Q supports multiple different implementation options. The first one and the one that I showed in the demo is through Connect's agent workspace. Amazon Q is available out of the box, although we know that customers use a lot of other options as well. So Amazon Q is available via Salesforce, via our CTI adapter, very easy to plug into Salesforce, as well as many customers use their own agent applications. And we have a Connect JavaScript SDK that makes it very easy to include the functionality you just saw in your own agent application. We also make it really easy to leverage your existing content. We have no-code connectors to several common knowledge platforms such as Salesforce, ServiceNow, Zendesk, SharePoint, and Amazon S3. For other platforms, we include APIs and make it easy to create and update your content and keep it in sync with Amazon Q. And regardless of where your content lives, we support a variety of formats, including HTML, Word, PDF, and text formats. Now, there are a few best practices that will help you really get the most benefits from Amazon Q Connect that we've learned through the process of our beta and talking with our customers. The first one here, while it might sound obvious, is worth highlighting since it really does have the biggest impact on how successful Amazon Q is for your agents. Since Amazon Q uses your knowledge articles and documents as a source of truth, it's important that information is comprehensive of the types of questions that are asked by your customers. Put simply, if you don't provide information on a topic, then Amazon Q isn't able to provide guidance. Now, this doesn't mean that you necessarily need to have documents on every single issue that comes in. You may focus Amazon Q on a particular service line or type of agent or call type, and then make sure you have documents and information on that particular call type where you're using Q. Also, when reviewing and updating your content, it's important that there are text descriptions to supplement the visuals. Providing descriptions of what's conveyed via images really helps Amazon Q synthesize that information and generate those responses for your agents. Next, we all know that customers often describe your products and your services differently than you do in your documentation. Updating your content to include the language that customers use will help Amazon Q make that connection between what a customer is describing and what you have in your documents. For example, an internal document might refer to something such as a grill auger, but customers might call it the metal corkscrew. Including both the formal name and a reference to the customer description in your content is going to help Q generate those responses. Writing simply and clearly, of course, is going to help all of your agents. In addition to Amazon Q, if the content is confusing or not readily understandable by a new agent, then that's a good sense that there might be more description, more explanation that's needed. And that would also help Amazon Q make sense of the information. And finally, the last tip here is to look at your content. And if you have extremely long content or content over a megabyte of file size, to shorten that and to break it up into smaller documents on more discrete topics. That's going to make your content really quick and easy to process for Amazon Q, as well as for your agents who might reference and open up those articles within their workspace or those documents. You want that not to be extremely long as well. Amazon Q and Connect is priced at $40 per agent per month. It's important to note that you're billed for agents who receive a suggested response or who search across your connected knowledge sources within that month. This $40 per month, that includes all usage from Amazon Bedrock. There's no additional charge for Bedrock that's included in that fee. However, if you are using Q in the voice channel, we do require contact lens real time. Contact lens real time does have an additional charge. One thing that's important is that you don't necessarily need to use Amazon Q with all of your agents in the contact center. Certainly, some choose to do that, but others choose to focus on your newer agents or agents handling particularly difficult calls or a queue that might have a long wait time. And you can control which agents are able to use Q, which have access to it through your security profiles. So that puts you into control about who can use Q and control your billing as well. Finally, I want to note that there is a free trial going on right now for Amazon Q. You can try it for absolutely free for no charge until March 1st, 2024. So this is a great opportunity to be able to go in, explore the capabilities, get some experience using it, build that business case between now and March. So there are a couple of frequently asked questions I wanted to touch on before we open it up to the broader audience questions. I won't necessarily read each of these responses, but I do want to highlight a couple of the key points here. First one is that Amazon has been using AI to solve real-world business cases for a very long time. We've leveraged this 20-year experience when developing Amazon Q and Connect. Next, This technology, as you all know, is moving very rapidly, and we're always evaluating enhancements and advancements in large language models so that we can find the mix of the best performance at the lower cost. And that's why we don't necessarily disclose the underlying foundational model, because we expect this will change over time. Also, we know that hallucinations are a challenge for every generative AI product. That's one of the reasons why we started first with Agent Assist to have that human in the loop. But we have several specific steps we're taking, some guardrails in place. The first is we keep the agent in control at all times. They can always edit or modify that generated response before it's sent to an end customer or provided to that customer. Next, we always provide references in the forms of links to those knowledge articles and documents, essentially showing our sources, showing our homework of how those responses were generated by providing that transparency. And the third, and very importantly, is that we collect agent feedback throughout the process to continually improve the models and the responses. And we do this in two ways. The first is through implicit usage, being able to understand, for example, when a response was used, when it wasn't used, when a response was used but edited, what agents are clicking on or not clicking on, as well as explicit usage, both thumbs up and thumbs down, to be able to incorporate that information in those signals to improve the outputs. A couple more common questions, and then we'll turn it over and open it up for the audience questions. But wanted to note that we provide real-time recommendations in the voice and video calling channels, as well as in chat and messaging channels. As I mentioned previously, contact lens is required in the voice and video calling, but not for chat and SMS. It's also possible to query, provide those natural language searches between active contacts. The region availability is noted here. One thing I'll point out is that we are expanding to additional regions early next year. So if you're interested in a region that's not on this list, please reach out. We can provide further guidance on the timing of that, but we will have several new regions coming early next year. And finally, it's really easy to get started with Amazon Q and Connect. Simply go to the AWS console, navigate to Amazon Connect, and click on Amazon Q and Connect, where you can create a new domain or assistant, as we call it, and connect it to a knowledge source such as S3, use our no-code connectors. Put a couple sample documents in that S3 bucket, and literally within 10 minutes, you can be starting to use Amazon Q and getting a sense of how it can help your agents. We have a lot more information, though, on enabling Amazon Q and Connect. I encourage you to attend tomorrow's Maximizing Connect session at the same time, 9 o'clock a.m. Pacific, where we'll be covering how to get started, how to implement Amazon Q and Connect in a lot more detail. So at this point, I'll pause and we'll open it up for some questions that have come through. We can go ahead and end here. We're, of course, encourage you to attend the session tomorrow, where we'll be going into the configuration and implementation of the Amazon Q and Connect. And we're always available to follow up for any questions that may come up afterwards. Please feel free to reach out. Thank you all for joining today.